We're sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. STFC loses yesterday to Pumas 1-0, but they advance on aggregate 4-2. They'll be taking on Montreal on Saturday, the 21st, live from Snapdragon. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760 starting at 7:30. STFC is currently a minus 225 favorite. In fight night in the NBA last night between the Hornets and the Pistons, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, Miles Bridges, and Musa Diabate were all suspended for Monday's brawl. Stewart got the biggest fine, where a biggest punishment with 7 games suspended. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
And let's get it going on a Wednesday. What's happening, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer is going to be taking over then. We got a busy one for you, and I don't even think I told Sammy this, but I'm just going to tell everybody at the same time right now so we can all catch up. We found out that we have extra tickets to give away for Coulter Wall. So Coulter Wall, who we were giving away tickets last week, he's performing at Gallagher Square at Petco Park on February 20th. We just found out we got a few extras. So pretty much every single segment today, we're going to be giving away some tickets. So make sure you're listening for those cues to call for tickets. You can buy them at Ticketmaster.com, but just keep listening because the first giveaway is coming up in less than 15 minutes. With all that being said, Sammy Long, are you ready to have a great show?
Yes, sir.
I said, are you ready to have a great show?
It's a little too much energy sometimes at 12 o'clock.
I'm feeling good. I started taking a multivitamin, Sammy, and I'm just feeling great now all the time. It's like, I don't know if it's
a
all
multivitamin is making you feel great.
Yeah, I've never really taken vitamins in my life, but my wife bought me this giant pill bottle, and I don't know exactly what's in them. It says multivitamin for men.
It's a little something called cocaine, my friends.
Maybe that'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
I've never tried it. Makes you feel tingly inside.
But I do feel better all the time now. Like my stomach feels pretty good. My joints all feel great. Multivitamin for the win. Maybe everyone should be taking those. But we do have a lot to get to today. Not just those Coulter Wall tickets, but we also have some excellent sound from Emmitt Smith that Sammy was like, Fletch, you got to hear this. This sound is so good. Emmitt Smith, legend of the game. You got to hear this sound. And then I listened to it and knew exactly why Sammy loved this sound. We'll play that for you coming up in just a bit. Plus, we got our buddy Danny Vietti from CBS Sports, one of the best voices on Major League Baseball in the country, coming up at 12:30. So we got a lot to get to today. We are going to start. Actually, let's start by giving STFC some love, shall we? Because STFC,
hell yeah, shout out to those boys last night.
They lost 1-0, but in soccer, sometimes losing can actually be a good thing, and that was the case here yesterday. So I watched a lot of this game. I think it was on FS2. And San Diego's goalkeeping was incredible in this one. They were able to keep the Humas out of the goal for the most part in yesterday's game. And San Diego FC, they advance in CONCACAF. So we wait a month now, and they got what's the name of the team they're playing against next?
They're playing on the 21st against Montreal.
Toluca in the CONCACAF. They're playing next. First game will be at Snapdragon, just like this, in CONCACAF, and then they'll go to their home as well, to Toluca, which is a town in Mexico. So SCFC advancing in the CONCACAF, which is a big deal.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great performance. I was at a bar last night. People were going crazy watching the game.
Hell yeah.
It was like Darren Smith came on our show a couple weeks ago and talked about, I remember asking him, what's the one thing you want to see improvement from last year? Obviously Cinderella run season, making the Western Conference final. And he kind of talked about the back end a little bit, the back line, and being a little bit more, better in that regard and more communication back there. And in a game, right, soccer is interesting because they were up 4-1 after the performance at Snapdragon. So they didn't really need to score. And there's a reason why they were plus 360 dogs going into the game last night, because SDFC wasn't really trying to score. They love to score.
They just couldn't lose by more than 2.
Right. So they were kind of packing it in and playing, playing half the field, but very impressive from SDFC. What a start to the season after last season, coming out with two or advancing in the tournament, and just excited, man. It's like, it's cool that they're kind of building on last year, despite losing Alaski and despite losing, Chucky and some of these guys. Like, it doesn't really seem to matter because they keep putting this excellent product out on the field. So hopefully they're building upon last year.
So CJ Dos Santos, who was the goalkeeper for a lot of last season, is out, still dealing with that injury that he had in the postseason for SDFC. But Pablo Cisniega is the one filling in for him. And my God, was he good yesterday. Like they literally just couldn't lose by more than 2 points. And he was able to keep Pumas out of the net the entire night. So good for them, bringing some pride to San Diego. And yeah, opening day for SDFC and the MLS coming up in about 10 days. Of course, you'll hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. With that being said, Padres pitchers and catchers are there. They're in Peoria. They're working out today. Today was the first scheduled workout, so everybody's there. But they're definitely going to be missing one person because, well, we just don't know who the fifth starting pitcher is going to be yet. That person is currently not on the roster, I would assume. You have Musgrove, you have Pivetta, you have King, you have Vasquez, you have some sort of combination of who it's going to be at the 4 spot, but who is going to be at the 5 spot for the San Diego Padres. Kevin Acee had an article out yesterday that said, yeah, the hope for Zach Gallen, even though the Padres are linked in reports, is probably not realistic because he's going to cost too much. Verlander signs a $13 million deal, so I'm assuming the Padres were never actually in on that. And we'll see. There's going to be somebody. Kevin actually did a really nice job in his article at the end, kind of describing how Michael Wacha came to be a Padre in the last couple of weeks of spring training, how Sean Manaea got traded right before the season, a couple other names that were recent memory where AJ Preller has hit close to the season beginning on starting pitching, and he's going to have to do exactly the same thing this year because the Padres are going to need someone.
I'm just surprised that they didn't. Maybe they did, but you feel like if they would have tried to get Gallen a week or two ago when Framber Valdez was still a free agent, because Valdez was the kind of cream of the crop. He was the starting pitcher that everyone wanted. He's younger. And Gallen's ERA was like a 4.83. So Gallen, you're kind of paying Gallen off name. Gallen a couple years ago was one of the main reasons why Arizona went to a World Series when the Diamondbacks went on their run. And he didn't have a great season last year, but he's a veteran pitcher, a guy who can throw bulk innings. That's kind of been his thing throughout his career. He can have heavy stress on his arm, and he's a talented pitcher. My problem with the starting rotation right now is on paper, in a vacuum, I like it. Nick Pivetta had a great season last year. Michael King, we know, has all the talent in the world, and Joe Musgrove, if he can get back recovering from his injury, can be an absolute ace for this team. And Randy Vasquez, do you want him pitching in the playoffs? No, but he's a means to an end. He can get you some wins and eat up some innings in June and July. The problem, though, is, as we know, look at last season. Everyone thought Darvish and Cease and these guys or Michael King were going to be healthy the whole year, and they weren't. Pitchers
Maybe Matt
are
Waldron can save the day again.
Yeah, guys are going to get hurt. You need some depth, and you can't wear out Musgrove and Pivetta and these guys through the entire season to just get to the postseason. And then all of a sudden these arms are all taxed. It's not like the Dodgers where they have so much talent. They can put Snell and Yamamoto and these guys on ice for months on end and still make the postseason.
My fear is that the Padres do nothing here. And I actually think that might happen because like JP Sears is there. They made a trade. He was part of a trade last season and it was with the Padres now. Matt Waldron is there. Who we could laugh at it. Matt Waldron really did save the season in the early part of it, the knuckleballer for the Padres. And then Kyle Hart also is there. And so they have 3 guys that they can kind of rotate and try out in that 5th spot. But that would be my fear, is that the Padres do nothing and just rely on what they already have, which personally I don't think is good enough. So I mentioned the Padres. This is kind of the history of AJ Preller late moves in spring training, bringing people in. Sean Manaea was the final week of spring training in 2022. Michael Wacha was the first week of camp in 23. Dylan Cease was traded to the Padres while the team was en route to South Korea for the opener. And Nick Pivetta was
signed late as well.
The day pitchers and catchers reported. So you see, like AJ Preller, this is kind of his MO, and maybe he finds it again this year. I just don't think anybody knows what that name actually is. And the problem with Gallen, to your point, Sammy, was even if the Padres had done it a week or so ago, they still would have had to give up a draft pick this year and next year, I think, because he has a qualifying offer on the table. There's some baseball ins and outs that kind of make it less appetizing if you're thinking about it. You would have to think like Zach Gallen is helping you win a World Series this year.
Because if you don't sign anybody of substance in terms of, you're not signing a guy like taking a JP Sears and going, who's already there, and going, we hope he develops into something. Hopefully he does. That's great.
Hope is an awesome strategy.
Right. That's not. And then it also it puts more stress at the trade deadline, because if the Padres are in contention, which we expect them to be, they're a good team. They're bringing most of the roster back. That's been a perennial playoff team the last few years. Then you're going to put a lot of stress at the trade deadline to go get somebody. Teams are going to know that, and your farm system. The Padres currently don't have a prospect in the top 100. Salas was their top at number 90, and then he just fell out of it because of injury. So you can't just count on AJ Preller saving the day at the trade deadline like he has the last couple of years. You have to go get somebody now so you don't tax your bullpen for the entire season.
Coulter Wall tickets coming up in just a little bit. We're going to get to the big three here right now, but I did want to mention, the snowboarding half pipe, which is going on live right now, the men's competition.
Yeah.
Chloe Kim advanced. She was the first qualifier in the qualifying round. She was in first place. So she's going for gold tomorrow at like 10:30 in the morning or something. Can't wait for that. But it is crazy because Shaun White's been on all these broadcasts in the bottom corner or on NBC's coverage of it. And it feels like when Shaun White was doing the half pipe and dominating everybody, like he was doing one thing and everybody else was doing something else, Now it feels like everybody's doing what Shaun White used to do. Like the talent has grown so much.
Well, right, probably because Shaun White made snowboarding cool. Like people wanted, Shaun White was a spectacle. Shaun White was a huge superstar athlete, kind of like Tony Hawk in skateboarding. Like people picked it up because of that. But yeah, I've been digging the Olympics, man. It's been fun to watch.
It's been so much fun for me. The curling was good, even though we got silver. Everything has been fun so far. And we got another gold today. We got one more gold, so we're up to 3, I think. It was speed skating.
Are you giving out spoilers from this morning?
Oh, sorry. Everybody already should know what's going on. It's on the front page of ESPN. Come on.
You're supposed to wait for the prime time tonight.
Okay, yes, I will wait for prime time. I apologize, and I'll watch it later tonight with everybody else. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Also, every commercial break, we run an Olympics thing with an update.
From the previous day.
I don't think we're spoiling anything.
It's on
NBC right now.
Okay. Our updates are from the previous day, so from the previous primetime special.
Right, but NBC is airing live coverage of the Olympics as we speak.
I was just told to not put stuff in my updates to spoil for people. That was from the bosses.
I apologize. If anyone has a big problem with me, I'll stop doing it immediately. I just have pride in Team USA.
You're the guy that stands out of the outside the theater in Avengers Endgame and tells everyone that Tony Stark dies.
Okay, very different. That was Mike Costa.
He actually did that?
He did it on the air the next day. I've never, ever. Do you remember Kyle Engelhart?
Of course.
I've never seen Kyle Engelhart so pissed as when he walked in that day, because I think Costa also ruined it for Kyle.
I love Costa, but that's pretty weak. I'm not going to lie.
It was pretty bad. I was sitting there like, what the hell did you just do? What's first, Sammy?
So Wemby has 37 in the first half last night against the Luka, LeBron, and Reeves-less Lakers. Absolutely dismantle them. Are the Spurs the number one threat to Oklahoma City in the league right now?
I'm going to say yes, because I think Victor Wembanyama is the unicorn that the NBA has been waiting for, and he's starting to round into form. The injury problem is real with Wembanyama, and we'll see if he can go this full season. But watching the first half he played last night, and most of his damage was done in the first half. 37 of his 40 points was scored in the first half last night.
Right, he didn't really play in the second half.
Yeah, the game was over. Wemby is a serious problem that no matter how deep Oklahoma City is, I don't know that anyone really has an answer for what Victor Wembanyama is. And if he can start being more consistent like this, you're talking about the Spurs building a new dynasty around one guy, and that's Victor Wembanyama, if he can stay healthy. That's why they're probably the number one contender right now and not the favorite. Is literally you think Wembanyama may go down at any moment with another injury. But he's amazing, man. He's one of those guys that can kind of reignite some fuel in the NBA again, which we get once a generation, it feels like. And maybe Wemby's that guy this year. I just hope we can see a full career out of him.
They have the depth to give Oklahoma City problems because their guards can match up. I mean, that's Oklahoma City's secret sauce is Shea's great, Chet Holmgren's great, Jalen Williams is great, but you have the other Jalen Williams producing off the bench, Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso. Every guy has talent on that roster that plays and can hit shots. So you're not able to really just take guys out of the game because if you leave guys open, they're just going to bury you. Look at the Laker game the other night. I do think they have the guards. Harper, Fox hasn't been quite as good this year, but that's kind of him taking a backseat to Stephon Castle. And I mean, you get Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell. You go down the list, there's guys, Champagnie doesn't even get talked about, and he's been there for a long time as a starter and averages double digits. So, yes, Wemby could give people some problems. I think in the Western Conference, the Lakers don't play defense. Houston doesn't have a point guard. Denver lacks some depth. So, and Minnesota doesn't have a number 2 alongside Anthony Edwards. So, yeah, I would roll with the Spurs, but we'll see. The Eastern Conference actually might give Oklahoma City the toughest run. Detroit plays defense at a clip that might be able to give them some problems. All right. Corbin Carroll is injured right now. So he got injured today. I believe he broke a bone in his foot or something. They believe he'll be ready for opening day. And Francisco Lindor for the Mets is also injured as well. Who do you see right now as the number one threat to the Dodgers in the NL?
Lindor is probably going to be back by opening day. He's getting surgery, I think, today. Like, Lindor may be in surgery as we speak, but he is
said out 6 weeks. So yeah,
out for 6 weeks, probably going to be okay for opening day. I mean, it's the usual cast of characters, right? You have to put the Padres in the mix. You have to put the Mets in the mix. I think
hand surgery for Corbin Carroll, my mistake.
Yeah, it's the usual mix, but it does feel like the Dodgers are just a step above everybody, and a lot like we talk about in the NFL, how you have your top 4 quarterbacks and then just a bunch of dudes. It feels like right now you have the Dodgers and then a bunch of guys. And there's a lot of really good baseball teams, but it feels like everybody is just going to be trying to figure out how to top the Dodgers this year in the postseason. And I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if in the next few years you have teams who are starting to draft differently, if you have teams who are starting to sign free agents differently, literally with the one thing in mind, and that is to take down the Dodgers. And we'll see it balance itself out. It does in every sport. That's what makes sports great. But as of right now, this is the Dodgers and everybody else. And we'll see if there's a contender that emerges early. Danny Vietti, who's joining us at 12:30, may have some different thoughts on it. Sammy, what about you?
The Padres are up there. I think that's why it's been a little frustrating in the offseason, because the Padres do have a roster and play them so much and are familiar with them that I wouldn't pick them to beat the Dodgers, but it could give the Dodgers problems in a short series. And it just feels like they're kind of treading water. Yeah, you bring back Michael King. You haven't really added anything. With all due respect to Miguel Andujar, that's not a move that puts you over the edge when the Dodgers sign Edwin Diaz and Kyle Tucker and guys like that. I do think the Padres, the division rivals, you obviously have that kind of thing. The Diamondbacks have an interesting starting pitching staff, but they don't have a bullpen. Like, they have to address the bullpen. You can't play the Dodgers and their hitters have no bullpen. Phillies feel like they keep running the same thing back every year. It's like Harper, Schwarber, Trey Turner. Castellanos looks like he's on his way out. So on paper, that team looks great, but it feels like, again, despite Christopher Sanchez and Nola and like these great starting pitching staff, it's kind of the same thing every year. I will go with the Mets because of Soto, Lindor. Their bullpen got a lot better at the trade deadline last year. They have a pretty good pitching staff, starters to bullpen. So I will roll with the Mets, but it is hard to not pick the Dodgers.
All right, we're going to save big three, number 3 for the other side. Right now, your opportunity to win a pair of tickets to go see Coulter Wall and Hayden Redwine at Gallagher Square, Petco Park, February 20th. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. We'll go caller number 5. We're going to rip through these today. We got a bunch of tickets to give away, so stay tuned. But Coulter Wall, Gallagher Square, Petco Park, February 20th. Going to be a hell of a show. You can buy tickets at Ticketmaster.com or call right now, 877-767-4760. Caller number 5. You're going to the concert. You're listening to San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. We got 13 chances for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the bonus bucks giveaway every hour from 6 to 6. Listen for the keyword. Enter it at sportsSD.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 1 o'clock. We got our buddy Tyler in on YouTube, which you could be as well at San Diego Sports 760. Excuse me. Tyler just crying, laughing face emoji. Do you know what that was in reference to? Was that the multivitamin? I don't know.
Well, yeah, maybe it's a multivitamin.
I am taking multivitamins now, and I feel great. Everyone should be doing that. Our buddy Rich saying, how about Miami taking down North Carolina last night? Now I trust Sammy Long metrics over KenPom.
Yes.
How about that?
Thank you, Rich McGuire.
Are you a new intern over at KenPom.com?
No, KenPom wishes they had me, man.
Long shots was very close last night. I will give Sammy credit. The Miami pick was great. If Sammy would have, I think even during long shots yesterday, I think you were thinking about going Spurs -8.5. And then you said, no, I'm going to go with the under instead.
I went with the under because I didn't know who was going to play for the Lakers. Had I known, I thought LeBron was going to be out. I knew Luke was going to be out, but I thought Reeves would play and Smart and Ayton. And then when it came down that none of the starters were going to play, that then it was smart to smash Spurs on the spread.
We all would have been rich, but we just didn't know yet, so we'll give Sammy the excuse on that one. That's a what do we call it? The moral points, moral victory. That was a moral victory last night for you, Sammy. Just not a real victory.
Yeah.
All right. So big three, number 3 was going to revolve around Emmitt Smith. Obviously, Emmitt Smith, legendary NFL legend, is now talking. And Sammy, he was so excited when he came in this morning. The first thing he said to me was, "You got to hear this sound from Emmitt Smith. He's talking about the quarterbacks. It's so great. This is the best take I've heard in years." Would you like to play Emmitt Smith for everybody, Sammy, so we can all hear what you're so excited about?
So the audio, ESPN is acting weird right now, but I have the quote in front of me. He said, when asked about some of the of Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson,
sure,
was asked if they're elite. He said, "Hell no, they are not elite." And then I'm trying to get the rest of this here, but he basically went off talking about how they are not elite quarterbacks because they haven't won the postseason.
He said there's only one elite quarterback off that list, and it's Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
He said because Patrick Mahomes elevates everybody on his team and will put the team on his back with the opportunity to win. And he cited Josh Allen this year saying, look, the AFC was down this year, and Josh Allen still couldn't get over the hump. And Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson haven't played in a Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow's been to one and lost it. That was him citing everybody who's not elite, which, in my opinion, would mean there's only one elite quarterback in the NFL.
I don't know. I'm going to try to get the audio for everyone later. It was spazzing out a little bit, the computer. But I don't agree with Emmitt Smith. Josh Allen is an elite quarterback. Joe Burrow's an elite quarterback. Lamar Jackson is certainly an elite quarterback. They all are. I mean, if you were drafting a team from scratch and every NFL player was available, you would draft Mahomes, Allen, all those guys would get taken in the first 5 picks because of the talent they have. I think, though, when we evaluate quarterbacks, why this clip was interesting to me was it's hard because if the metric on elite, if your metric of elite is winning in clutch spots, then I guess, yeah, they haven't done that. Now, Joe Burrow's a little bit different. He beat Mahomes. He went to a Super Bowl. But Lamar and Josh Allen have not come up in the biggest spots. But I've heard a lot this week of people criticizing Sam Darnold or Jalen Hurts. I'll even throw your boy Purdy in there. I've been critical of Purdy. He made a Super Bowl a couple years ago. And people criticize going, well, yeah, well, they're not elite passers. You wouldn't pick them in the top 10 if every player was available. But at the same time, if we're going off, quote, what an elite player is, it's hard to say that even though Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are better players than Sam Darnold did just win a Super Bowl, has done something they haven't done. So
context matters, though, man. And I think the eyeball test is worth something. And I think when we watch NFL games, we know that there's a difference between Sam Darnold and Josh Allen.
Obviously.
We know there's a difference between Sam Darnold and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. We know there's a difference, for that matter, from Brock Purdy to those guys I just mentioned. Like, obviously, there are levels to this, and the eyeball test matters more, I think, than who gets to put a ring on their finger. That's just what I think. Like, watching a game, you know who's a better player.
Yes. I don't agree with him. Obviously, those guys are all elite level passers, and any team would trade their next 5 drafts to be able to acquire any of them. But it is hard because in basketball is the most pure form of that guy's elite or not, because you're playing both ways. So if a guy's not getting it done in the playoffs, you're like, yeah, well, he hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs. Baseball, everyone gets a pass. You have Hall of Famers who have, Mike Trout is one of the best players we've ever seen, hasn't even sniffed going far in a postseason. Has only played in 3 postseason games?
Right. And it's funny how we never talk about how incredible New England's defenses were all those years that Brady was winning Super Bowls.
Well, that's the thing in the NFL is the quarterbacks play in one way, but that also can get taken too far where it's always a pass for for coming up short. You have to win the big game at some point.
Not to mention 0 special teams mistakes for the Patriots ever in big games. And other teams seem to always make big mistakes on special teams. All right, we got Danny Vietti coming up next. We also have another pair of those Coulter Wall tickets coming up next. And we'll get to some of these texts.
Our guy Dan won them.
Dan the man?
Dan the man.
Probably really tan. Probably really likes peanut butter and jam.
Are you spitting rhymes?
I'm trying to. Well, we need to get to break so Danny Vietti can come on the show. And damn it, I don't have another rhyme. I'm out, Sammy. I got no more.
We gotta get your rhyme schemes up, dude.
I know. It's San Diego Sports 760. Danny Vietti, CBS Sports Network, coming up next.
The sport is sponsored by Alliant University. Be ready for when it's real. San Diego FC advances on aggregate after playing Pumas again last night. They lost 1-0, but they advanced 4-2 on aggregate. They'll be back on February 21st from Snapdragon Stadium at 7:30, taking on Montreal. And the Lakers got run out of the gym last night by Wemby and the Spurs, 136-108. Luka, Reeves, and LeBron all did not play. They'll be back tomorrow night, taking on the Dallas Mavericks before the All-Star break at 7 o'clock. Alliant University educates and prepares you for licensure and credentialing in therapy, social work, nursing, and teaching so that you're ready to take what drives you and make it real like only you can. That's the community at work, alliant.edu.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John Schaefer is going to take over then. We got Colter Wall tickets coming up for you in just about 7 or 8 minutes right after we get off the phone with the one and only Mr. Danny Vietti, CBS Sports, plus his podcast. Find him on social medias at Danny Vietti. What's up, Danny? It's been a while.
It just means it's baseball season. If you're hitting my phone up, if you and Sammy are down my digits, it means it's baseball season. So, I got a smile on my face. It's always good to hear from you guys.
Well, we're just about ready. Padres pitchers and catchers reported yesterday, first workouts today. Things are starting to happen here in San Diego as people are getting excited for the start of the baseball season. Danny, let's kind of start there because it's been a narrative this offseason, right? It's been a narrative. In fact, I even heard Jeff Passan say it at one point that a lot of fan bases around Major League Baseball simply just don't have hope this year because they're going into the season just assuming that the Dodgers are going to win another World Series. How do you view this season? How dominant are the Dodgers actually? And how many teams do have a shot to upset them?
I mean, they're as dominant as ever. But we've seen it happen before where we see maybe not necessarily the best roster hoist a trophy at the end of the year. But yes, some of it's deferred money. Yes, there's some contracts are still going to be worked out, such as the Kyle Tucker one, such as he has opt-outs after every single year. But as it stands right now, the Dodgers weren't actually the team that spent the most money this offseason as of today. It was the Toronto Blue Jays that spent $359 million this offseason. Now, the Dodgers were second, close, $328 million. And then behind them were the Phillies and the Mets. But look, the way I see it is until Major League Baseball comes up with a solution to whether it be a salary floor, salary cap, which is likely going to happen at the end of this year with the collective bargaining agreement going to be had. Until Major League Baseball comes up with a solution, fans can complain all they want, but the Dodgers, at least as it stands right now, they are doing everything within the rule book, and they are doing nothing that is illegal by rule, by letter of the law. And so fans have a reason to be upset. Fans have a reason to feel a little bit more pessimistic this year, just because when you look at the rosters, the Dodgers are absolutely stacked 1 through 9, 1 through 5 through the rotation. But they're doing nothing wrong in regards to the rule book.
When you take a look at the NL West, obviously Dodgers massive favorites, but Padres kind of feel like they've stayed the same this offseason. Giants got a rise, and in the Diamondbacks got Arenado and Burns coming back. Do you see the Padres as the favorite behind the Dodgers, or do you think they've been passed?
I still think Atlanta is kind of a wild card for me. It felt like last year it was I actually compared the Atlanta Braves last year to the San Diego Padres from a few years ago with Bob Melvin the second year. It was like everything that could go wrong with Atlanta did go wrong last year. Like they went into the season, Strider and Acuna were going to start the season on the injured list, but they were hoping they would get those guys back. Well, they did get those guys back, but then Strider got hurt again, and then Acuna got hurt again. And then down goes Chris Sale, and Ronaldo Lopez wasn't healthy, and then their entire bullpen just seemingly got the injury bug overnight. It felt like Atlanta just nothing went right for them. And you look at this team on paper, they are still stacked when healthy. They still got Acuna, Olsen. Profar started the season last year due to the PED suspension. He's back. Austin Riley's still there. Ozzie Albies is still there. And in the rotation for Atlanta, too, they're expected to have a healthy Chris Sale, a healthy Spencer Strider, Ronaldo Lopez. Unfortunately, Schwellenbach is likely going to start the season on the injured list. That in a vacuum, this Atlanta Braves team looks absolutely stacked when healthy. The Padres are certainly a lot like last season's roster. Not too many upgrades from the offseason, but the Padres had a good roster even going into the offseason. But I still think Atlanta, San Diego is certainly up there. As long as Lindor can come back healthy for the Mets are going to spend money and be right there as well. So, Philadelphia is getting older. I wonder if they peaked 2 years ago, but the Phillies have as much playoff experience as anybody if they can get into the dance.
And the one thing the Padres fans can really hang their hat on is the bullpen is as good as it's ever been. I mean, Suarez isn't there, but Mason Miller may be the best bullpen arm in all of baseball. Morahone was huge last year. Jason Adam says he feels better at this point right now for this season than he did at this point a year ago. So we'll see about this Padres team, but there's still plenty of reason to hope, I would believe. Danny, we talked about it a little bit, and Danny Vietti with CBS Sports joining us here on San Diego Sports 760. But you mentioned the future of baseball and how the salary cap, the salary floor might be coming in sooner rather than later. Do you think we get a baseball season in 2027?
I do. It's so hard to predict, though. I mean, I do think it's reached a boiling point here where there's such a gap between the largest revenue teams versus the smallest revenue teams. It's always been an issue. Like, there's always been the issue of, okay, like fans want a salary cap because the Dodgers are spending. It used to be the Yankees, the Red Sox, but now it's reached a point where, you know, the Dodgers, especially when you take into account their deferred money, I mean, their payroll is up near $400 million, possibly even exceeding. And then you compare that to other teams, like even a team within their own division, like the Colorado Rockies, like their payroll is at $140 million. I mean, the payroll gap between the top teams and the bottom teams, it's so severe. And it's now leading to questions of whether there's fairness of play. And any time you get parity questions and any time you get questions of whether it's the rules in place are fair for each team, that's where I think you reach that boiling point. I question whether there's enough MLB owners that truly want a floor, because players are not going to want a cap. Players are going to want, I mean, Tatis is going to want to make $400 million. Juan Soto wants to make that $765 million. When there's a cap, that limits things. But the only way that you can get a cap from the players' end is if the owners are willing to have a floor. And the way I see it is these low payroll teams such as Cleveland and Milwaukee and the A's, they're still getting revenue share. And so they come out publicly and say they want a salary floor because they want more parity. I don't know if that's true. Part of that, like, I think that's partially just smoke and mirrors and good PR. Because as far as I can see, is these owners are still making a whole lot of money and their payrolls are still incredibly low. And a lot of these owners, especially the low payroll ones, are not willing to invest into a roster. And until they start losing money, these owners, I don't know if they're truly willing to go all in on the salary floor.
Padres in the market for a fifth starter. That's kind of been the hot topic down here in San Diego. Who do you see out there as potential impact players for possibly the Padres? I know Zach Gallen's still available. Who would you look to after him?
Yeah, I wonder if Bassett is available too. Now, Toronto seemingly is looking to bring Chris Bassett back. But there's kind of like that flavor and that connection. There always has been between the A's and San Diego. It always kind of seems to be a little bit of a hotbed for a trade market there. I mean, including Mason Miller most recently, and JP Sears. Chris Bassett spent his first half of his career in Oakland, has experience pitching out on the West Coast. Maybe he could be an option. Zach Littell is another guy that comes to mind. Probably it won't involve too much money. And I think at this juncture, there was a report from John Heyman that said the Padres were potentially interested in Framber Valdez, but indications are it's probably going to be a lower, more affordable move at the starting rotation for the Padres if they do add another starter. So Zach Littell would be affordable. Ben Lively, a guy that has had strong numbers, maybe doesn't blow you away with the fastball or anything, but has had strong numbers. Maybe Charlie Morton if they want to bring in a veteran who has experience, but he really struggled last season as a starter. And another guy that could be available is certainly Max Scherzer if you want to bring in another veteran guy. But going through a 162 game season at age 41 years old is a tall task. And I think the Padres right now that have dealt with injuries, especially in that rotation, with guys like Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish, I think health is what they're looking for.
And it's AJ Preller, so probably all those names you just said, well, they're likely will never happen because AJ will wow us with somebody that we've never even heard of before. That's what he likes to do. Danny, good stuff as always. Now, a couple years ago, we made you do this, and it went terribly wrong. But would you like to throw out a World Series prediction for this year?
No, I can't do it. Can we circle back on this in like a couple weeks? Because like the injuries are coming in, and like there's still a lot of decent players on the market that haven't been signed yet. Can we at least get through pitchers and catchers and then get through spring training, and then we can circle back on this?
Danny, I do have to give you credit. I remember you coming on before the MLB playoffs, and I believe you picked Dodgers Blue Jays and said the Blue Jays would give them a run for their money. Am I mistaken?
Close. I had Dodgers, Mariners, and Mariners, of course, lost game 7 of the AL. So, yeah. You know what? Your version sounds a lot better.
I was about to say it.
You are absolutely correct.
Danny, no one's going back and checking the pod. You could have just accepted that compliment and ran with it. But, how about this, Danny? We'll make it a date. Opening day, we'll have you back on, and that's when you can make your prediction.
Look it, brother. It won't matter. Like, it's such a crapshoot. It won't matter, but call it a date.
Sammy and I are going to put $50 each on it, and then we're all going to go get a nice steak dinner next.
Danny's going to get a vig of our profits.
Yes, absolutely. Danny, thank you for your time, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Danny Vietti, CBS Sports. Love having him on during the baseball season. Hilarious text from the 858. It says, quote, some deferred money as if 680 million wasn't deferred for just one player. No wonder soccer has become more popular in America. Here we go. Baseball's going to jump back up as soon as opening day hits. That's like a national holiday in the country. I love opening day.
Opening day is the best, man. Opening day is it's the best. You get called out of school. No one's at school because everyone goes to the local game.
Where did you go to school?
Los Angeles, and then Seattle, and then here.
You took days off of school for opening day?
Oh yeah, it was in first off, down here in San Diego, it was like a thing that people wouldn't go if you had season tickets. Everyone would go opening day. In Seattle, everyone was gone. Everyone went to the Mariners, and then LA, everyone went to the Dodgers too.
That's kind of amazing. I guess growing up in the middle of nowhere, you don't really you don't have a pro baseball team 10 minutes away from you. Like
I had a friend who had he had big boy seats. His dad's like a big time lawyer in the city. And I was like, everyone was always like, who gets the invite? Because then you get to get out of school on day one.
You have a new friend who has big boy seats here in San Diego.
Who?
I don't know if he wants me exposing him, but you met him last Friday at the big game tailgate.
Really?
And if you're nice to him, he might take you one day, Sammy. He's taken me before. Man. These are the best seats I've ever sat in. So if you're nice, maybe something could happen for you too. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We got long shots on the other side. Sammy came very close to making us money. I'm going to take blame off of him on this one, if I'm being completely honest.
I called Miami money line.
Yeah, you did. You nailed a lot that was going on yesterday, but today he's going to actually make us some money. That's next. It's San Diego Sports 760. But first, Coulter Wall performing Gallagher Square at Petco Park coming up on February 20th. I think we still have 4 more pairs of these tickets. So we're going to give away one right now to caller number, let's say 6. Caller number 6 at 877-767-4760. You're going to go to the show, and then we got 4 more pairs of tickets to give away before we get off the air today. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Join Valley View Casino and Hotel for Valentine's Day coming up this weekend at their award-winning restaurants, including the Cafe, Patties and Pints, and San Diego's most romantic steakhouse, the Black and Blue. Plus, all ladies enjoying their meal at the Black and Blue Steakhouse on February 14th this Saturday are going to be offered a free rose during the Valentine's Day Rose giveaway happening this Saturday. Enjoy all American and Asian specialties, handcrafted burgers, perfectly prepared steaks, fresh seafood, and luscious desserts, sure to tempt your sweet tooth. I'm telling you, Black and Blue Steakhouse is incredible, man. And I know steak. Just ask anybody. Plus, when you're there, join the Players Club. You're going to get over $200 in free offers to use at San Diego's favorite casino. We're talking about free offers to enjoy instantly at Valley View, including $10 of more play, which is free slot play, $10 of match play, and $20 to the Black and Blue Steakhouse for your Valentine's Day extravaganza. Plus, the more you use that Players Club card, the more you're going to earn, including when you upgrade from red card to blue card status, you get 2 free Maine Lobster buffets. And the more you use it, the more rewards you're going to get, like complimentary dining, free hotel stays, luxury gifts, and invitations to exclusive events. So don't miss out. Visit Valley View Casino and Hotel this Saturday and indulge in a delicious Valentine's Day feast with your sweetie. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer's going to take over then. Realize what's happening this starting tomorrow?
Pebble Beach.
Pebble Beach, AT&T Pro-Am. Rory's confirmed for it. This is going to be fun, man. This is always one of my favorite tournaments of the year. Gets crazy out there at Pebble, but can't wait for it. That starts tomorrow. I think Rory tees off at 9:24 tomorrow. So this is like his official start, quote unquote. It's his PGA Tour season. Excited to see what goes down at Pebble tomorrow. They're expecting crazy winds. Like we had crazy wind yesterday in San Diego. Pebble's going to be a monster over the next 4 days. All right, Sammy, we got a bunch of texts here. So while you finish putting together long shots, I'll rip through some of these. We got, let's see, 858. Thank you. Washington with the backdoor cover, baby. Was that you, Sammy?
Yes, it was.
Nicely done. 619. Let's not forget the Chiefs' last Super Bowl appearance was more embarrassing than the Patriots. You can send that text anytime you want.
You can't win them every year. I mean, they got a little tired of playing the same teams, the Niners and the Eagles. It's okay. They'll be back next year. They give everyone else a chance this year.
913 text in saying, Fletch, if they started bobsledding yet, I want to root for that one participant you discussed last week. Yes, Alessia Crippa. She's a skeleton bobsledder for Team Italy. Unfortunately, not in the Olympics this year. She had a back injury leading up to it, so will not be playing. 858 was the some deferred money text. That was very funny. And different 858 number. Here we go. Pro strat for long shots. Parlay the picks together with half of your bankroll that you're planning on betting. but also play each one individually with the rest of your bank. That way you're always making money.
I love the 858 so much.
So this is smart. So if you're planning on betting $10, just bet 5 on Sammy's actual parlay. That might make you $30-$40. And then you bet $1 or $2 on each of the individual picks. That way, if Sammy goes 2 for 3, you're still winning money.
Exactly. Listen, we never unit shame. We never unit shame. Do whatever you want. But right, it's tough to hit a parlay. But overall, I'm always hitting 2 or 3 picks. And
except for the nights you go over 3, but we don't talk about those.
I don't even remember that.
Happened 2 days ago.
No.
It happened in the Super Bowl, actually.
What happened before the Super Bowl? Oh, I went 3 for 3. It made everyone money.
Yeah, hell yeah.
See, Fletch was frustrated because he didn't get the number when I told him to bet it, so he ended up losing, but all of San Diego won money.
Sure. All right, you got what you're doing today? You got it all figured out?
Locked in.
Who just won those tickets?
Joel the man, dude.
What's poppin', Joel?
This is the show. Shout out to Joel.
We got more Coulter Wall tickets coming up right after long shots, but Sammy, go ahead, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With long shots.
All right. What are you smiling about?
You go ahead.
All right, we're starting college basketball, then we're heading to the association. One college basketball pick tonight. Give me UConn on the spread, covering 11.5 against Butler. Now, UConn coming off a tough loss against St. John's. St. John's, Patino and that squad, they've had them they've been sitting there lying in wait. They were a number 2 seed in the tournament last year and kind of fell short. I believe they got beat in the round of 32. And they play better this year. UConn has been fantastic. I think they respond big time in this game. They beat Butler a month ago by 19, 79-60. Butler scores a lot of points at 81, but so does UConn at 79-80. Here's the difference. UConn only gives up 64 points per game. Butler gives up about 78. I think UConn, kind of like what Duke did last night after losing to North Carolina, took it out on the next team they're playing. I got that with UConn. They're going to get that. I'm not a UConn fan, but they are going to get that roster back up and running tonight, and they're going to get a big win, covering 11.5, taking on Butler. Okay, Knicks Sixers. Philly's a 2.5-point favorite in this game at 4:30. Now, 2 of the most evenly matched teams in the Eastern Conference. I actually think Philly is a massive dark horse to potentially reach the NBA Finals. The biggest question for Philly is, can these guys stay healthy? That's been the whole question throughout Joel Embiid's career. Joel Embiid is questionable tonight. Dominic Barlow and Quentin Grimes are both game-time decisions with an illness. I'm still going to lay the points with Philly, though, -2.5, because OG Anunoby and Miles McBride for New York are not playing. New York comes off an overtime loss last night to the Indiana Pacers. Had to play a lot of guys, a lot of minutes, coming on the second night of a back-to-back, and Philly has the guards to weather the storm, whether Embiid plays or not. Edgecombe, especially with Anunoby not playing. Anunoby was going to be guarding Edgecombe all night. Edgecombe's going to have a big night. Oubre, Maxey, lay the 2.5 in Philly. I think Philly gets a big win. My favorite play of the day, Pistons-Raptors, Toronto -1.5.
What?
Yep. Detroit, fantastic team, and they play an excellent brand of basketball. They're physical. It's a 90s style. They foul a lot, but they get away with it because they foul so much. They don't call it every time. But tonight, Jalen Duren out, Isaiah Stewart out. A lot of their front court is out, and people don't give the Raptors enough respect. The Raptors don't have maybe the star power some other teams like the Knicks and the Celtics and the Sixers, but Brandon Ingram has been fantastic this year. RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes. This is a team that collectively plays a lot of defense. You got Ochai Agbaji coming off the bench along with Grady Dick. It's a very talented 1 through 10 team. And RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Brandon Ingram form a nice little trio. Can they get them over the top in the Eastern Conference? Can Ingram be the number 1 on a championship winning team? That's for you to decide. But the Raptors are that team in the East. Maybe it's because they play in Canada that is not getting talked about despite them being in the thick of it in the Eastern Conference. I think this is a signature win for them tonight. They're going to be able to limit Cade Cunningham with Scotty Barnes, who is one of the best defenders in the association. I think Raptors actually win this one kind of big. So we're laying it -1.5. Give us the Raptors. So to recap, Raptors laying 1.5 against Detroit. I like Philly laying 2.5 against the Knicks coming off that back-to-back overtime loss to the Pacers last night. And give me UConn laying the points, taking on Butler favored by 11.5. We're laying the points tonight. We're not going with dogs.
Taking all favorites. That's what we like to do here on San Diego Sports 760. All favorites.
I took them on the spread though. I'm not taking money line.
Yes, of course. All favorites all day. Our buddy Rich saying the problem is Lakers picks never come in. Over, under, doesn't matter.
Rich,
have you been missing a lot on Lakers lately?
I don't think I have. Have I?
I don't know.
I'm not taking a blame for last night because the entire starting five was out. So obviously Wemby was going to have 25 points in the first quarter.
How many did the Spurs end up scoring? 136?
136. Lakers at 108.
Sheesh. Wemby was on fire in the first half. Yeah, but what are you going to do with everybody out? I guess that's kind of predictable. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is coming up next. We're going to get a little deeper into the conversation in Major League Baseball, not just about the Padres, but about the health of the league heading into this season. And yes, can anyone take down the Dodgers? Right now, we do have a pair of tickets for Coulter Wall coming up February 20th, Gallagher Square at Petco Park. Caller number.
Let's go 9.
9. You're going to the concert coming up in just a couple weeks. 877-767-4760. Call right now. You can go see Coulter Wall out at Gallagher Square. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. STFC loses last night, but advances on aggregate 4-2. They'll be back on February 21st at 7:30, taking on CF Montreal. They are a favorite in that one. The primetime games in the NBA tonight: Knicks, Sixers, 4:30 on ESPN. Philly is a slight favorite there at 2.5. And the Spurs, after dismantling the Luka, LeBron, and Reeves-less Lakers last night, are back in the Bay, taking on the Warriors at 7 o'clock. San Antonio is a 7.5 point road favorite in that one. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer is going to take over then. Busy hour coming up. We still have 2 more tickets, or 2 more pairs of tickets to go see Coulter Wall out at Gallagher Square. We'll be giving those away here over the next hour, so stay tuned. Also, question for the text line, and we'll get back to it at 1:45. Who do you want to see? Who do you think is going to be the Super Bowl halftime performer in 2026-27?
He peaked at 134 million?
Actually, that number ended up being fake. The real number was 128. So the official Nielsen report came out, and the first reports that came out, it was like 135. And a lot of companies, big companies, ran with that number and were saying it was the most watched halftime show of all time. It was actually the 4th most watched halftime show of all time, behind Kendrick last year, Michael Jackson in the 90s, and Usher.
Kendrick made sense because people were wondering who's going to play Not Like Us against Drake.
It was also just a fantastic game where the Kansas City Chiefs were getting their teeth kicked in.
I remember the game of the Usher one too. Usher was like, I like Usher a lot. I don't know if that was the greatest halftime show. He played a lot,
but it was a great game. Like, it was actually a great game. No foot in the mouth.
Right. In Michael, of course. I mean, it's Michael Jackson. Who doesn't like Michael Jackson? And then next year, what are you making?
I mean, there are some people who don't like Michael Jackson.
Okay, take away the off the mic stuff and tell me you don't like Michael Jackson's music, and I'll show you a liar. That's
I'm just saying, like, there are people who don't like Michael Jackson because of the off the court stuff.
Off the court. Yeah. So next year, I loved it. I thought Bad Bunny did a great job. I liked the whole kind of set. It was cool seeing all the celebrity cameos. But yeah, I wonder who it will be next year.
Who would you like to see? Who do you think it'll be? Text us 70470. Start your message with the word team. Sammy and I were talking off mic about potential Bieber, but I don't know, because it's in LA. Are they going to try to go a little more LA focused? We'll see. So hit us up 70470. Start your message with the word team. All right, power rankings.
FanDuel has favorites out.
Who do you know what they are?
I'm clicking on it right now. So Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus among the favorites.
Miley Cyrus.
LA.
It's a party and then
Miley Cyrus, Cardi B. I don't see Cardi B. Taylor Swift, Lil Wayne in LA. ASAP Rocky, Justin.
They should have had Lil Wayne do it in New Orleans.
Right. That was like that made the most sense. Bieber and then J. Cole.
J. Cole just released a new album. I haven't listened to it yet.
It's good. I'll listen to half of it. It's good. But my thing is, again, I don't know if
Why are the Foo Fighters never on this list, man? I think they've
declined it before.
Have they? Because they would bring such a good. Everybody can sing Foo Fighter songs. Like, you just know them, right?
It would be big. The problem with the why the bands say no is they don't want to dance. They want to just play. Right. And so the Super Bowl halftime show, they want like dancers. Swift won't do it if Kelsey's back because everyone's gonna say it's rigged if the Chiefs get there. Miley Cyrus makes a lot of sense. Bieber, you gotta do stuff that girls like. Like, I don't know if J. Cole, like, is J. Cole loved by women?
Probably not. J. Cole's cool. He's a very good rapper.
J. Cole's I'm a massive J. Cole fan. I'm just saying J. Cole, like, I don't know if.
What about Drizzy Drake?
I would love to. Not in LA after the Kendrick.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. Well, we'll see. But hit us up on the text line. Who do you want to see? Who do you think it's going to be? 70470. Start your message with the word team. All right. Power rankings for the MLB as we head into spring training. A lot of teams reporting today with their pitchers and catchers, training getting going. Dodgers are pretty much unanimously the first, and then it's a mix. A lot of people have the Blue Jays second, the Mariners third, Yankees 4, Mets 5, Cubs 6, Brewers 7, Red Sox 8, Phillies 9, Orioles 10, and then Braves, Tigers, Astros, Padres. That's
Padres are what, 15?
Padres 14, 15, somewhere in there.
I think that's fair right now. I think if they sign, I don't know if it's going to happen. It sounds like it's not. AC kind of poo-pooed it on our show yesterday, but if Gallen signed with the Padres, I think they would jump up a couple spots because again, it's just, you can have the greatest bullpen in the world and the Padres are going to have an elite bullpen going into next year, but bullpens don't really matter if you can't ever get them a lead and you tax them so much during the regular season. So I think that's the concern nationally right now. But in terms of like stars and hitters, the Padres obviously have stars. I'm excited to see Laureano, a full year of him. I think there's probably some value with the Padres at 14-15 right now.
I do think they're slightly better than that personally, but it does make sense considering most of the teams above them that we just listed have done stuff this offseason, have made moves to bring in pieces, and the Padres really haven't done it. So, Gallen, to your point, Sammy, so I looked it up, and because he has the qualifying offer attached to him, the Padres would have to forfeit this year's 2nd and 5th draft picks to the Diamondbacks and also lose $1 million in international bonus pool money, which we know AJ and the Padres love to attack the international bonus signing area for Major League Baseball. So I don't think they would ever do it, and I think it would just cost too much. And it's become clear, if one thing is violently clear to Padres fans, this team is done spending huge money contracts, especially for a one-year guy like Zach Gallen would probably be. For the Padres, it would be a one-year rental.
Boris either wants front-loaded money on a massive bloated contract for 1 year or an extensive contract, which we know the Padres aren't going to be handing out amid ownership selling the team.
Right. Like when you're trying to sell the team, you want everything to look as clean as possible on the books. You don't want something just coming in all of a sudden out of nowhere. It's like the stuff that's already there, there's only so much you can do about it. You're not trading Machado. You're not trading Bogarts. You could trade Tatis, but I don't think they will.
How much of them being 14-15 do you think is, because we always talk about the 5th starter and maybe a lack of another bat.
It's the rotation. Everything else is strong on the Padres. But the lineup is strong for the most part. They could probably add another bat.
They're expecting some regression from, like Machado and Bogarts are only getting older. So it's hard to think that they're going to just magically pop and have a better season. What we've seen the last couple. Tatis is going to have you're expecting a big season. Merrill hopefully can stay healthy. He got kind of hindered because of all the injuries. I wonder if that's a little bit of wondering if the aging stars are going to regress.
Maybe. I do think Machado is going to be better this year, if anything. And he wasn't really bad last year. He had some really bad stretches, which we remember. But for the most part, his numbers were right around where he usually is. Now, I expect him to be a little bit better this year than he was a year ago. Xander Bogaerts, you just got to kind of hope with him. And he actually had a couple stretches of nice baseball last year.
Nice down the stretch.
Tatis is the one you look at and you're like, dude, you got to be better than you've been. Like you were generational superstar and all of a sudden you're just a pretty good player. Like you got to be better than that for Fernando Tatis Jr. And it's fair for San Diego to expect a lot more out of him because we know that that's there and we just need to see it again. But the lineup, for the most part, like I'm comfortable with heading into the season. Maybe add another piece, another bench piece who can pinch hit late situations. I would love another hitter who can hit lefties like Miguel Andujar. I thought that was a great signing. But the starting rotation is the problem because the bullpen's great, but the bullpen's only great if it's used sparingly. And if they have to do what they did last year, which was go to the bullpen in the 5th inning of every game, then it's not going to be great. You're going to have injury problems. So the starting rotation needs to get rounded out. I think they need to add another piece. You can't just rely on Waldron, JP Sears.
You can't just rely on these starting these big three. If you don't do anything, you're expecting Pivetta to have the exact same season he had last year. Michael King to stay healthy, which was a problem last year. Joe Musgrove, you're throwing bulk innings on that arm that is coming off a massive surgery. Like that is not a recipe for success. You have to bring these guys along slowly, and then hopefully for the postseason, you have a stacked rotation going into it.
All right, let's get to the big three here of hour number 2, where Sammy rips through the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
We got a text that says, Fletch, when did you turn 55 years old? Are you signing up for AARP now too? Something multivitamins. Yeah, I'm taking whatever. I wasn't planning on sharing that with the world today. It just kind of happened.
What started you taking multivitamins?
My wife was at Target buying multivitamins for herself and saw a men's section right next to it, so she just grabbed it and brought it home. And I'll be honest,
know what you're putting in your body every day?
No idea. 2 to 3 days later, I do feel better.
Fletch sucking down that fish oil.
Yeah, let's go. Anything to make you feel good. Rich Ornberg, you want to talk about multivitamins? Rich takes like 50 pills a day.
Rich is yoked out. He's. I can tell my man's been in the gym.
Steroids. That's what he's doing. He's doing steroids. Test that man's urine immediately.
He ain't playing anymore. You can do whatever you want.
80-game suspension for Rich heading into the Major League Baseball season, like Profar last year.
Yeah, Profar-esque. All right, Clint Kubiak and the Raiders have the number 1 overall pick, widely expected to take Fernando Mendoza. They reiterated this week they want Max Crosby to be a Raider. If you were running the Raiders, would you trade Crosby and try to rebuild a little bit of this defense, or keep him there and try to hope that this kind of Mendoza, Genzi, Bauer situation can grow?
I thought it was very telling that one of the first 3 or 4 questions to Clint Kubiak in his opening presser as the Raiders head coach, he was asked about Max Crosby, and the first thing he said was, I took Max out for coffee this morning. I want him to be a huge part of this team. I don't think you take that Raiders job expecting to lose one of the best defensive players in football. So I think Max Crosby being there is going to be vital, and the dude is as Raider gets. So maybe logically it might make sense to move on from Max Crosby and bring in some youth, bring in some draft picks to this team. I just think that sometimes there are players who you want attached to your team forever, and maybe Max Crosby is one of those guys. I think Clint Kubiak was being honest, by the way, when he said he wants to keep him for a long time. I think he just means too much to that organization right now, that if you're building something and he's not a part of it, it's going to feel a little shallow.
I mean, it makes sense if you're Kubiak. The first thing you don't want to do is go, hey, our fan favorite star player, let's trade him. It's bad press immediately. But if you're being smart, you probably should trade him. This Raider defense isn't good, and it hasn't been good for years. They have a superstar player on it that is a game wrecker and one of the best players in all of football. But look at the Cowboys. I mean, like Micah Parsons, unbelievable player. The defense sucked with him there because you could only pay a couple guys. You feel like the Raiders have not had a good secondary in about 15 years. And that's not even hyperbole. They have always, that has been the weakness. They cannot field a secondary for whatever reason and can't draft well. I think you're restarting the thing with Mendoza. You got Genty, Bowers, go young. Crosby still has a ton of trade value at age 28. Why wait a couple years? It's not like the Raiders are going to be in contention next season. I would restart this rebuild immediately, but I guess if you're Clint Kubiak, I bet personally he doesn't want the PR hit, but honestly, probably the smartest thing for them going forward.
Where'd our music go? Bring it back.
It went away on us right here. All right, kind of a fun story out of the NBA. So this kind of went on the radar today.
Is this the fight?
No.
I've been dying to talk about the fight. We'll have to get to it on the other side, but what's up?
Okay, all right. Jonathan Kuminga, it was well documented, the relationship between him and Steve Kerr. Now, it came out after he was traded at the trade deadline, the straw that broke the camel's back. Steve Kerr confronted Jonathan Kuminga about one of Jonathan Kuminga's family members taking too much food from the cafeteria. Yes, this is a real story. Taking too much food from the cafeteria. And Kuminga was basically like, F this, get me out of here. I'm done with this team. Are the Warriors going to, A, reaction to the story, and number two, are the Warriors going to regret trading him for Kristaps Porzingis, who hasn't even played yet?
I hope this is true because it makes Steve Kerr look like such an ass. It makes him look like such an ass. I get it. You have a problem with the dude. You're going to give him problems because your team, which is worth billions of dollars, is getting too much food taken out of the cafeteria. iHeart may do this to me one day, by the way, Sammy, because I do take a lot of Cheez-Its out of the vending machine. So just be ready. If I get axed one day, it's going to be because I took too much food out of the snack room. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. Steve Kerr, if this is real, is such an ass.
I mean, it's so odd that this is the PR of an organization. I guess it all happens. I mean, look at New England. New England is one of the most buttoned up organizations. You didn't hear anything from them.
Speaking of which,
for years. What?
Well, I'm assuming you're about to reference the Orchids of Asia Day Spa incident with Robert Kraft. Did you see what Jordan Hudson was wearing at the North Carolina Duke game?
No.
An Orchids of Day Spa t-shirt.
Well, to that
Genius.
To that end, the Patriots were buttoned up. You didn't hear any of this till after it. And then all of a sudden it came out. Brady and Belichick would never have dinner together. They all hated each other. Kraft wanted Garoppolo, Belichick wanted Garoppolo, and the relationship blew up. The Warriors were a lot similar. The Warriors, you never really heard anything out of the organization. Steve Kerr, an all-time great coach, 4 rings, coached Team USA to a gold medal. He's got everything working there. But it's so odd that you didn't take the time to have a young 23-year-old potential superstar that plays defense and can score at will, was averaging over 20 points per game in the playoffs, when Steph Curry got hurt and you run him out of town because you don't like him, and then you're criticizing his family for taking food from the cafeteria. If I'm a Golden State Warrior fan, I'm very frustrated with the direction of this franchise, especially considering Draymond, Curry, and Kristaps Porzingis' age.
Seriously, could you imagine your former employee's new girlfriend wearing a t-shirt of the place that you got busted for? I don't even know what the right word to say is with Robert Kraft. Jordan Hudson was wearing an Orchids of Asia Day Spa t-shirt.
I don't think Robert Kraft cares.
At the North Carolina Duke game. That is hilarious trolling, and well done by Jordan Hudson. She went up a few notches in my book, if I'm being honest, because of that. I think it's hilarious.
I mean, Robert Kraft's so old, I don't even think he knows what's happening.
He knew what was happening that day. Let me tell you what, Sammy, he knew what was going on. He was fully alert and at attention. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We'll save it for the other side. But we do want to give away another pair of Coulter Wall tickets here on San Diego Sports 760. Caller number 6, you're going to get them. Coulter Wall is playing with Hayden Redwine at Gallagher Square at Petco Park on February 20th. Tickets and info, visit Ticketmaster.com. Caller number 6, you're going to the show, 877-767-4760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John Schaefer is going to take over then the Brian Dutcher Coaches Show tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. John Schaefer is sitting down with the head coach of the Aztecs basketball team and previewing Saturday's game against Nevada. The Brian Dutcher Coaches Show gets going Thursday at 6 right here on your home for the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. I'll be honest, the basketball season for San Diego State is a grind. Like, we're working hard for all these broadcasts and everything. And I thought it would be nice having a week off. My life has felt empty this week without having a game to get ready for in the middle of the week. And I was sitting at home last night and I was like, Tuesday night, no Aztecs game. This is feeling kind of shallow, if I'm being honest. So don't always wish things are gone. You know
well,
what I mean?
yeah, it was, it's also, they were in like a little bit of a stretch there. There was a couple week period where they're playing Grand Canyon, UNLV, Utah State, where every game was like massive. And then you're coming off, play Wyoming. They're expected to beat Wyoming by a lot, beat them by 9. They play Air Force, who's terrible, and they destroy them to their credit. So it feels like you're kind of in this waiting game for the Aztecs, like waiting for these big road matchups, see if they can really kind of claw back into this at-large picture, because they really are on the cut line right now.
Couple of home games coming up, Nevada and then Grand Canyon. 2 massive games for the Aztecs. You got to win them both. All right, text from the 858 coming in saying Raiders have $100 million to build the defense and line and other needs. I feel like there's no reason for them to move on from Max Crosby with a team-friendly deal in place. Won't be able to get enough for him to make it worth it. That's from our buddy Tyson, who's a Raiders fan. Tyson, I would tend to agree. I think the Raiders actually have like $91 million in cap space that they can use this offseason, but will Mark Davis use it is the problem. Like, will they go out and get some pieces to add to this Raiders defense? That's what they're going to need. And the Raiders have a huge draft this year, man. You're talking about a team that can go from totally uncompetitive to somewhat competitive, and maybe with a new rookie quarterback, times are a-changing in Las Vegas.
Right. If you believe in Mendoza, the Raiders have some upside. I mean, Mendoza, Genty, Bowers. It sucks if you're a Raider fan, you got rid of Jacoby Myers because he went and tore it up in Jacksonville at the end of the season. But Tyson, to your point, yeah, if obviously having Max Crosby is better. There's been a lot of talk of with the Browns trade Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's 30, I believe, 31. Max Crosby, his value probably is never going to be higher. So I get it. If you want to stay and build around Max Crosby, that's a perfectly reasonable point because he is such a game wrecker. And the fact that he's been that much of a game wrecker despite not having a super talented defense over the years around him. But outside of the division they play in, being brutal with the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos, I mean, the Raiders have some pieces to potentially kind of become relevant again.
All right, now in Major League Baseball, there's a couple of injuries that are big heading into the season. So Corbin Carroll and Francisco Lindor both have been injured. Lindor is going to get surgery, I believe, today, and he's going to be out for 6 weeks leading up to the season beginning. There's a chance he's ready for opening day. We will see. Corbin Carroll was a hand injury, right?
Hand injury. They expect opening day, but could be a little bit later.
So these are 2 teams in the National League, 2 of their bigger stars who are coming down with injuries right ahead of the season beginning. It does kind of open up some windows here. So you start looking at the health of Major League Baseball and where teams are. And it feels like the Padres are right there among the teams who are going to be contending with the Dodgers for the top spot in all of Major League Baseball this year. Now, it's felt that way for the last few years. It hasn't happened yet. But could this be the year we see something turn around? This is where hope springs eternal. You can start tricking yourself into some things because I will remind you, the Padres probably, maybe, have, if not the best, the second or third best bullpen in all of Major League Baseball heading into the 100%. Season. There's some things to be excited about, is what I'm saying.
There's a lot
to be not lost.
There's a lot to be excited about. I think where you have concern, like last year, the Padres don't have a ton of depth. So if they were going in with this roster perfectly healthy in the postseason, I'm like, okay, like that's they got the top 3 pitchers that are good. You have an excellent bullpen. You have some stars in Merrill and Tatis and Machado, and you'll see if Laureano, one of these guys, for me, can kind of pick up this season and kind of be that extra guy. There's some pieces there. The problem for me right now is the starting pitching. And it's like to expect that all 3 of those guys are going to stay healthy for the full season is fool's gold. I mean, it didn't happen last year. So you need to add something back there to account for that because, I mean, you're an injury or 2 away in that starting rotation of Pivetta, King, or Musgrove, God forbid Musgrove again. And then all of a sudden it's JP Sears and Waldron and Randy Vasquez having to stack up a lot of wins over the course of the season for you, and that's not always the best option.
And the hope is the offense can do a little bit more this year with runners in scoring position and just getting some slug back on this team. It felt like the home run ball left us for a year. We'll see if it can come back to the Padres again this year. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Take a quick break here. On the other side, our final pair of tickets to Coulter Wall. Plus, let's get into some NFL talk. This was fun chatting with our buddy Tyson about the Raiders and their cap space and everything. The NFL draft is coming very, very soon. Who's on the clock? The Las Vegas Raiders. How about right after that? Let's get into it on the other side, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. SDFC advances on aggregate despite losing last night. They'll be taking on February 21st CF Montreal. The SDFC is currently a favorite in that one. You hear that game on San Diego Sports 760 coverage starting at 7. The NBA, 2 of the primetime matchups tonight. Sixers, Knicks. Sixers are currently 2.5-point favorites. Joel Embiid is questionable for that one. And you got the Spurs coming off a dismantling of the Lakers last night with no Luka, Reeves, or LeBron. They'll be taking on the Warriors in Golden State. They're a 7.5-point favorite in that one. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for about 30 more minutes here on a Wednesday. What's going on, everybody? John Schaefer's coming up right after us. We also want to congratulate all of our $5,000 winners in iHeartRadio's Think a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. There's still time for you to nominate a public school teacher who's making a difference, and maybe they'll be one of our next winners of $5,000 to help make over their classroom. Help us say thank you to the educators who are shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher today at iHeartRadio.com/teacher. All right, when you look at the NFL draft every year, and by the way, we have a very fun story out of the NBA that we're going to get to in a second. But when you look at the NFL draft this year, which is coming up in April, so not that far away, I like to look at the top 10 as what team can I see in the top 10 that could actually turn everything around with this year's draft and maybe be a contender this year. And of course, like the Raiders at number 1, maybe selecting for their next 10 seasons, someone who can hopefully come in and be a cornerstone of the franchise in Fernando Mendoza. And we'll see if he can. Top pick quarterbacks, I feel like, have a 50% bust rate. So we'll see if Mendoza can do it. But then you scroll through the rest of the top 10, and I'll tell you the team that I really have my eye on outside of the obvious, Kansas City Chiefs at number 9, which congratulations on drafting at number 9, Sammy, is the New York Giants, who feel like they're right there, man. They got a young team with a really young offense.
I thought you hated Harbaugh.
I don't love Harbaugh hire to them. I like Harbaugh's hire. It wasn't my favorite hire of the offseason, but I look at the New York Giants with a young offense and Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo and Malik Neighbors. And I look at a defense that got really good at the draft last year with Abdul Carter. And I look at them picking with a top 10 pick at number 5, and Field Yates has them taking the safety out of Ohio State. I think Daniel Jeremiah had them taking the cornerback out of LSU. And so you look at where they can get better, and all of a sudden you add some young defense, top of the line safety or a cornerback to this team. The New York Giants have an opportunity in a division with the Cowboys and the Eagles. Dare I say, to be a playoff team next year?
I think so. I mean, I think it's an interesting division because everyone's kind of penciled in Philly the last couple of years, and it's hard because Philly's bringing everyone back. Like on paper, the Philadelphia Eagles look like a very good football team, but we also said this for an entire season about why they couldn't get the offense right. And is it just magically going to work next year with a new offensive coordinator with AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts? I don't know. So I think Harbaugh's going to get that thing righted. Spencer Fanu, the offensive tackle out of Utah, makes a lot of sense for them, especially considering how much Jackson Dart has spent in the medical tent. It also is kind of, you're a Giants fan, the best case scenario, because remember when they were playing the Raiders late in the year, and if they lost, the team had the inside track for the number 1 pick, and the big question was going to be, because Dart showed a lot of promise, would you have gone with Mendoza? And the fact that they actually didn't get the number 1 overall pick, and Dante Moore isn't coming out, and a lot of the big time quarterbacks stayed in school, you just get to pick the best player available, which I think is the best thing for the New York Giants. But you look around the top 10, like Tennessee rebuilding. I mean, obviously the Chiefs at 9, the Rams are picking 11, 12 are two teams that,
because they have the Falcons pick.
The Falcons pick are two teams that you expect to be in the playoffs next year. They're going to get impact starters, but it does feel like even at the top, some of these teams, it seems like a lot of pass rushers are going after Mendoza. You got, Bailey out of Texas Tech and Bain and Messidor out of Miami. But I'm curious to see though, because it feels like for a while there, like the Micah Parsons draft. Remember, Micah Parsons was the first defensive player selected. I believe was at number 11 by the Cowboys. And there was like this couple of years where everyone just went offense, like the offense. And I think that like last year, look at the Seahawks just won a Super Bowl. They had the best defense in the NFL, or one of the best defenses. You're starting to see that, I think, even in an early mock draft you see a lot of pass rushers. Caleb Downs, a safety out of Ohio State, Mansour, the corner out of LSU. It seems like teams are kind of reverting back to historically it'd been a lot of quarterbacks and then defense in the first top 10 picks.
Yeah, hopefully all defense gets picked early. So at 27, the Niners have a wide receiver or a tight end they can go get. Sammy, with the Chiefs at number 9, like it's not really a joke at this point. The Chiefs have an opportunity to get right back to where they've been. If they smash this draft pick, who do you want to see them take?
The Chiefs, it's tough because part of me, they need a running game. The running game's been dreadful the last couple of years.
Breece Hall.
One of the worst. Right. So the Chiefs are going to know a lot in free agency. If they sign Breece Hall, you don't need a running back. If you don't, you have to get a running back. The Chiefs have been one of the most historically worst rushing teams the last 2 seasons, which is why you've had to see Mahomes run. Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame, would be big. I, though, preferably would go Reuben Bain from Miami because you got to get someone alongside Chris Jones. It felt like Chris Jones was by himself last year. Amenahu and Dana and these guys weren't getting it done. I wouldn't mind Downs. Downs might be the best player in the draft out of Ohio State, the safety spot.
God, I'm excited for the NFL draft. It's fun every year. All right, NBA. We had a fun one last night. This was kind of crazy. So Detroit and Charlotte were playing against each other, and there was a moment in the game where it was Diabate who committed the foul, right? The foul that started it all.
Diabate? He's a nice young player.
He is, but he fouls Isaiah Stewart, who's on Detroit. He's the center, the big guy. And then all of a sudden, it was a foul, and then a headbutt, and then punches started flying. And when I tell, like, NBA brawls are often a little lackluster because it's a lot of guys who are just going up saying, "Yeah, punch me, dude."
Well, they usually get separated because I think the NFL and the MLB, the refs and umps are farther away from everything. The officials are usually right there, so they usually get broken up.
Not to mention, there's 30 guys standing around the court who are security, who are wearing those like black quarter zips, who immediately rush the court, and they did last night too. The problem was, everybody on these two teams hated each other. Were fine with just swinging and taking whatever suspensions come their way. So Isaiah Stewart gets suspended 7 games. And then Miles Bridges, who's on Charlotte, and Diabate were each suspended 4 games because they were actually throwing punches. And then Jalen Duren, who was kind of, I thought, sort of running away from the whole thing, but was definitely talking in the middle of it. He gets suspended for a couple of games as well. I'm telling you, the NBA needs more of this.
Why is it always Detroit?
Why is it always awesome when it actually happens? Like, as soon as an actual punch gets thrown, it's a little more fun.
Well, to that end, I think we're seeing it in the NBA with certain teams, and
they're starting to hate each other a little bit. This is good.
As I know, there's critics of the NBA, and a lot of it's fair that it's such an offensive-minded game now. You lack a lot of the defense you saw in the 90s. As someone who loves the NBA and watches every night, I watch it every night. But I get where people have some criticism of the way the rules have changed. James Harden with the step back that he made famous, where it felt like he got to the line every time. But look at the 2 top teams in either conference, the Detroit Pistons in the East and Oklahoma City Thunder in the West. They play defense. It is not just people focus on the Cade Cunninghams and the Shays and the Chets, and rightfully so, they get the headlines. But those teams are 2 of the best defensive efficiency teams in the league. And kind of their philosophy is, we're going to foul you so much. JJ Redick talked about this after the Lakers play the Pistons. The Pistons manhandled the Lakers. Like, we're going to foul you so much that we're going to live with guys getting in foul trouble because we know the refs aren't going to call it every time, and we're going to set the pace, the tempo, that this is a physical game. So I think you're starting to see a few more skirmishes and things like that because the Detroit Pistons play a brand of basketball along with Oklahoma City that is a 90s, we're going to beat you up. It's going to hurt after this game. This is not a finesse team. This is a punch you in the mouth team. And some of the best teams in the NBA are rising up to that, and they're playing more of that style of basketball than the last couple of years, which has been primarily offense.
It does feel like we're ushering into almost a new era of the NBA, which I think is a positive thing because you had the Michael Jordan era, which was terrific, and it was physical basketball at its peak. The bad boys Detroit Pistons. And then you got into the Kobe era, which finesse started to come into play. But let's be honest, like, Kobe was great when he had an absolute banger on the inside, either Shaq or Power, whoever. And so you look at the 2 eras there, there's kind of similar. And then the LeBron era happened and Steph came along and offense became such a priority. And in a league where you're trying to take down the top dog every year, you're not going to beat the Warriors by out offensing them when they were at their peak. So GMs got smart around the league. They started saying, okay, well, we need to start building some defensive programs, and the offense is still going to be there. That's the easy part of basketball. The offense, it takes skill, but it's easier for an NBA guy to go out and drop 40 in a game than it is for an NBA guy to go out and play hard defense in a game.
Totally.
But credit to OKC, credit to Detroit, credit to Charlotte. Saw a lot last night, became a bigger fan of that team last night. If you start to build this back up, all of a sudden, maybe the Warriors' impact of what their dynasty was, where they were just out offensing everybody, maybe we get a little bit of a bad boys era in the NBA back, and that's good for everybody.
Right, and think about what you just said about the previous eras. People grew up playing basketball in the 90s. We're like, I mean, the Last Dance was great. They literally talked about the Jordan rule. They were trying to hurt. Not that this is good. They were trying to hurt him.
If he went up, you were taught to undercut him.
Right. I mean,
take his legs out,
and they wouldn't call fouls. This is the face of the NBA. This is Michael Jordan, one of the most famous athletes there's ever been, regardless of sport. And right, Kobe and like those teams that Shaq, you people wanted to dominate inside and play bully ball. And what the Warriors done for the league is good. I don't want to diminish what they've done because they've changed basketball and they've added a 3-point shot. And every kid who goes to play basketball at the rec now has a Curry jersey and is jacking it up from half court. But you are seeing that the teams that are rising to the top are playing hard-nosed defense night in and night out. And it's changing, I think, the way NBA teams scout college kids.
Yeah, OKC going on a little run here, I don't think is bad for the league because it's going to show that drafting, developing, and making smart trades early on and hoarding some draft picks is actually a pretty good idea.
Well,
it can have long-term effect.
Think of since the big three in Miami worked, they won 2 titles. It didn't work in Brooklyn with Durant, Kyrie, and James Harden. Didn't work in Phoenix with Beal, Booker, and Durant. The Lakers got a big 3 right now. That doesn't look like it's working in terms of a championship picture. And big threes don't.
I mean, Clay, Steph, KD worked.
Right. But
it also worked without KD.
In those finals, who were the big time players? Andre Iguodala. You had Bogut at times.
Jordan Poole had a huge final for the Warriors.
Right. So
Sean Livingston had a massive finals for the Warriors.
Those players got them there. But you have to have the other pieces that come in and really kind of put the icing on the cake.
All right, we're going to take our final break of the day here. Do we have one more pair of these tickets we can give away, Sammy?
Why not?
One more Coulter Wall pair of tickets. If you want to go see the show February 20th at Gallagher Square at Petco Park, call right now, 877-767-4760. We'll give these out to caller number 7 here for our final pair of the day. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John Schaefer is getting ready to take over right after us. Do we all realize what tomorrow is? Do we all realize that I've been excited for weeks now for something that gets started tomorrow during our show, Sammy?
USA hockey, baby.
USA hockey, baby. They got Latvia tomorrow. I think it starts at like 12:10 our time. So we'll be doing some distracted radio tomorrow. But that's going to be awesome. USA on the quest for gold, both men and women's side of the hockey. I'm excited, man. The Winter Olympics have been fun so far. This is kind of where things ratchet up a little bit. We got the half pipe tomorrow. Chloe Kim going for the gold. The men's half pipe also tomorrow, I believe, is the final, maybe the next day. But we got some good stuff coming in the Winter Olympics. While we talk about that, a year and 6 days from now or so, Super Bowl 61 will be back on our minds. Now, obviously, Bad Bunny is going to be a pretty tough act to follow because it was a political piece this year. It was either you loved him or you hated him, or you were just like me who thought that was a pretty fun halftime show. And the camera work was cool. I thought the scene setting was cool.
I liked it.
The set design was cool. By the way, one of our friends was one of the Bushes somehow. Tati from Star.
I saw that post. I didn't know that. How did she get that?
I don't know, but she was. So that's very, very cool. But you think about everything that went into this halftime show, and it does make me think, who the hell is going to follow that? Who's going to want to follow that with all the criticism that was thrown his way, all the praise that was thrown his way? It felt very 50-50. But what's coming next? And when I start racking my brain, I got a list of people I would want to see do the halftime show. I don't know if any of them will. Sammy, you have the odds pulled up?
Here are the odds per FanDuel. So J. Cole's plus 880. It's in Los Angeles, by the way. So that usually plays into it. Bieber's plus 790. ASAP Rocky's plus 610. Lil Wayne's plus 520. Taylor Swift is plus 490. Cardi B is plus 440. And the favorite right now at plus 310 is Miley Cyrus.
I did not realize, like, Miley Cyrus has some bangers and she has some songs everyone would be able to sing, but she's not like popular right now. Is she?
Miley Cyrus is pretty popular.
When's the last time she released an album?
Like not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Then I missed it entirely. But
well, she won a bunch of Grammys last year.
Really?
Yes.
Then I missed everything entirely. But like, could Miley Cyrus be the one? Does she have the catalog to do it? Is also my question. Maybe I just don't. Like, I know "Party in the USA," and then that one song that she made about the dude when they broke up. The "I could buy myself flowers."
Yeah, and this Wrecking Ball. She got some jams.
Wrecking Ball. That music video was crazy.
They
recreated Super Bowl 61. Bring out the Wrecking Ball.
The problem. Miley Cyrus is from LA, so that makes sense. You already did Dre, Snoop, that was awesome, and Kendrick came out, Eminem came out. I'm trying to you think I'm like Ice Cube would have made sense for then, but he didn't join. So I don't know. I wonder who they get, but it's got to be stuff that women like.
Who would you want to see?
I want to see them bring Cube and Snoop and bring just every LA rapper, bring Ice-T, bring them all out.
What else is LA? Chili Peppers are LA.
I would love to see yes. The Chili Peppers would be fantastic. Dave
Grohl does a bunch of stuff with LA. I don't know if he's from LA, but Foo Fighters.
He's not from LA.
But he throws a massive charity event like on his birthday every year in LA. It's a concert.
Yeah, he lives out there. Obviously Crew, but
they're a little old.
Right. So it'd be cool if they did like a rock, rap, hairband, metal
like a montage,
rap
like
montage,
five or six different.
I get Ice Cube, Ice-T, Snoop, and Dre, and do it again.
What if you did like iHeartRadio Music Festival style, where you have a rotating stage?
That would be cool.
So it's like you got some people going and for one or two songs, and then it turns around. So you got Chili Peppers going, and then maybe it turns around, and you got Miley doing a song. It turns around, you got Ice Cube rapping.
Why don't they just let us plan it?
Yeah, seriously, I will spend so much money, Jay-Z. You hit me up, you let me know. I will spend all the money to get the best lineup ever, and it will be awesome. But we'll see. I guess that'll still be determined. Miley Cyrus is the favorite. That kind of shocks me. Party in the USA. That's going to be in my head for the rest of the day.
Tomorrow.
All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. John Schaefer's up next. Thank you, everybody, for being here.